Hey guys, since I couldn't be in class today, I wanted to give you a few instructions for the project that you are going to be doing over the next few days. The first step for this project is to find your team members. This project is going to go in as a test score or a project score, so it will be weighted a little higher, so make sure that you guys do a really nice job on this project. And if as you're getting close to the end of the project, you want me to go over it and see if you're missing any points, let me know and I can do that. If you do not have a partner for this project, let Mr. Stensley know and he will help to find you a partner. All right, for step 2, pick one of your team members to trace. Don't stress about getting the lines perfect. You're probably going to be erasing them and maybe redrawing them later on. A few pointers to keep in mind. Pay attention to how you place your hands. Most textbooks are in anatomical position, so you may want to decide to trace your person in anatomical position. If not, if you decide to do a wacky pose like this, the radius and ulna are going to be flipped from most textbooks, so make sure that you adjust that when you're labeling your skeleton. So if we look at normal anatomical position, the radius is going to be lateral and the ulna is going to be medial. So keep that in mind. Also, you need to decide if you're going to point your toes straight down when tracing and draw them that direction, or if you want them off to your side. Either is fine, you just have to decide what works for you. Next, use the box on the instructions as a guide for drawing your bones. A few things to keep in mind when you're drawing these bones. Make sure that you have the correct number of phalanges on both your fingers and your toes. So we should have 2 bones in the thumb and 3 in each of the other fingers. Also make sure that you have the correct number of carpals. You should have 8 carpals and metacarpals, as well as tarsals and metatarsals. Now I'm not going to be super picky about the actual look of your carpals and tarsals. However, I am going to make sure that you have the correct number of them. Also, I had an error on my sheet. There are 7 cervical vertebrae, not 8. I don't know why that 8 snuck in there. When you draw your vertebrae, I do want to see all 7 cervical vertebrae. You won't see all the thoracic vertebrae because the sternum is in the way, but you will see the last 2 thoracic vertebrae that are attached to the floating ribs, and you will see all 5 lumbar vertebrae. I forgot to tell you guys on the last slide, make sure to have the 7 true ribs that attach to the sternum, the next 3 false ribs that attach to the 7th rib, and then the last 2 floating ribs that only attach to those thoracic vertebrae, and we should seal those. Also, make sure to create the fractures on the second side of your instructions prior to outlining your skeleton, or else you may have some issues with that. For the last part, you just want to go through the rubric. There is a picture of the bones as well as a skeleton in the textbook. So as we go through the rubric, make sure to color code your axial and appendicular skeleton. There's a drawing in your notes as well as the textbook of the parts of a long bone. So make sure to draw in the different parts of the long bone. Put in the sutures on your frontal bone that you could see. Again, the sutures are the joints. Make sure to color code your shoulder girdle and your pelvic girdle. Make sure that you have the correct numbers of carpals, metacarpals, tarsals, and metatarsals. Label 1 diarthrosis, 1 amphiarthrosis, and 1 synarthrosis joint, and then give 5 different fractures to your skeleton. And again, make sure you do that before you start tracing and outlining the skeleton. When you get all done with the project, come see me. I'll look it over, make sure that you have everything correct so you can fix anything that you want to. Have a great week.